Ticks are one of the worst insects on the planet, right up there with mosquitoes. They bite to take blood, and they can leave behind pathogens like Lyme disease, which is a bacterial infection usually transmitted by young deer ticks. Here in Minnesota, there are two common types of ticks: wood ticks, which are about the size of an apple seed, and deer ticks, which are much smaller, about the size of a sesame seed. The best thing you can do to avoid tick bites is to avoid tick habitats, which is usually long grass, often on the edge of a forest, providing some shade. But they can also be found in the woods, in leaf litter, along deer trails, or even in your backyard. If you stick to the trails, you probably won't even see them at all. But just to be safe, if you brush up against some long grass, just stop for a second and do a quick check. They're likely going to be moving pretty quickly at first, so they're fairly easy to see, and you may even feel them crawling around. But if you do have to go off trail, it's a good idea to wear long pants, which you can tuck into your socks and tuck your shirt into your pants. This will limit the amount of exposed skin, which will just give you a little bit more time to find them before they can bite. Usually takes them about a half an hour to an hour to find a spot they want to bite, often along a natural border like your waistline, your sock line, or on your neck around the hairline. They're not likely to bite you on the scalp. Your hair is just too thick. They also like secluded areas like your armpits or your groin. And it's really important to do a thorough tick check when you get home. You can do this in front of a mirror or have a handheld mirror to check those intimate areas. You may also want to ask a friend or a family member to check your back or your neck for you. It's also a good idea to check your clothes, inside and out. Because once they bite, they bury their head deep in the skin with a barbed mouth part. And they'll inject something that numbs the skin so you're less likely to feel it. If you are bit, it's important to remove them as soon as possible. So pinch as close to the skin as you can and gently pull. This may take a little bit of skin with it, but that's better than leaving behind a piece of the tick, which can lead to infection. Save the body of the tick so that it can be tested for Lyme disease, because it may not show up on a blood test for quite some time. If the tick is too deep to grab, you can use a tweezers, but you may actually want to just go into urgent care and have them remove it for you. They can even test it right then for Lyme disease. I've heard of all sorts of tricks to try to get them to remove themselves, touching them with a flame or an ice cube, or even flipping their body over to make them uncomfortable. But doing this can cause them to regurgitate any contents in their stomach, which can again lead to infection. Then you want to monitor that area for a bullseye rash, a fairly large red ring about the size of your hand around a large red spot. This is the classic sign of Lyme disease. Lyme is one of those things that can often get misdiagnosed as other problems. It can cause joint pain, heart problems, headaches. If you have been bitten by a deer tick, they may even put you on antibiotics just as a precaution. You may want to ask your vet about medication to protect your pets from ticks, because they can get bit just like we can. It's okay, Missy. It's okay. Whenever I find a tick, I'm always really paranoid for the rest of the day. Any little tickle I feel, I investigate, because it's just better to be safe. It's really important to be vigilant in spring and summer. For as common as they are, I have gone years without seeing them. And usually the local news will tell you that this year is going to be especially bad, but that's just to kind of get you aware and thinking about them. As long as you stick to those trails, you probably won't see them at all. If you do go off trail, make sure you wear long pants tucked into your socks. You may want to use bug spray. It's not something I personally use. I just try to avoid their habitat and do frequent checks. And then one really thorough check in front of a mirror when I get home. I really hope this video doesn't scare you away from enjoying nature. This is just another thing like mosquitoes that we have to be aware of. If you found any of this information helpful, let me know in the comments or with a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.